I'm your host, Josie Van Dyke, and I am sitting next to the mother of the mom talk queen, Taylor Frankie Paul, Mrs. Liann May, everybody. Welcome to Weekly Trash.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Sorry, I told you I sound a little raspy and sexy right now.
Yeah, that's a great
It's
thing.
a good voice, right?
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
trying to lean into it, but I'm so excited to dumpster deep dive you. I have so many questions for you.
Okay.
Like, I want to know all about your childhood. I want to know all about you before you became a mom. And then obviously we have to talk about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives because
Okay.
it's very prevalent right now.
Yes.
But can I dumpster deep dive you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Leann, where are you from?
I am from Colorado, Pueblo, Colorado.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Yes.
What brought you to Utah?
My husband's from Utah.
Okay. So I'm getting ahead of myself then. Okay. So
Yeah.
growing up, what was your family life like?
I grew up with my mom and my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And my mom was like your typical mom who stayed home with the kids. While my dad was a really hard worker, blue collar guy.
Okay.
Not a lot of money. I didn't grow up with money or anything like that. My dad was really hardworking. We had everything we needed, but pretty much just us four. I have a sister, so it was the four of us. My father was an alcoholic and died when I was a freshman in high school.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Were you raised religious at all?
Yeah, very. Like my mom is very LDS.
Okay.
And my dad converted to be LDS too, but he never like really practiced it. Like, like he always drank and smoked, but we went to church every Sunday. My mom is very, very a staunch LDS member.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it hard growing up with a father that was an alcoholic? Was it obvious or did he hide it?
No, it was obvious, but he was always like, kind of like, don't watch me kind of thing. But he pushed us to always go to church on Sunday. He made sure like we didn't have a choice to stay home with him. He is like, always like, you guys are going to church. He made us dinner. Like on Sundays, I had a great dad other than he was like, he had an addiction but he was like probably one of the best men I've ever met, just because he was just like, he was a family guy, but he had an addiction and he couldn't get over it. And he died at age of 38.
Was it due to like his liver?
Yes, cirrhosis of the liver. So
oh my gosh.
Left my mom. She had to go to work. She was never in the workforce. She had to she started going to college, and then she ended up being like a CNA at a hospital just to take care of us.
Is she still alive?
Yes.
Yes. Are you close with her?
Oh, very close.
What about your sister?
Yes, very close. They actually moved here when we moved
really?
here. Yeah.
Are you older or younger?
I'm older.
You're the older sister.
Yep.
That's hard though to lose your dad in high school. That's such like a pivotal moment in your life.
Absolutely.
To lose a father figure. Did you have anyone in your life that stepped in as a father figure?
My
for
grandfather, which was my mom's father,
Okay.
he was amazing too. Just like, I love him. I love my father, but there's something about having grandparents that I always felt like very secure and safe, and I don't know.
But and you kind of fill that role a little bit now too, being a grandparent that's very involved.
Yes. Oh, I'm very involved.
You're very involved.
They come first.
Yes, we love the grandbabies. So when did you meet Taylor's biological dad?
I met him when I was in high school. I was a freshman in high school. He was a senior. We dated all my high school years.
Really?
He graduated. He left to the Marines for boot camp, and then he actually ended up getting out, and I still dated him. And when I was a senior in high school, I found out I was pregnant. And so
what was that day like for you?
That was I still remember it like it was yesterday, just because it was just so traumatic. And I just found out I was just nominated for homecoming queen. I'm pregnant. I don't know what I'm going to do. I was supposed to leave with my friends to college. They were all leaving.
Yeah. What was your plans? Were you going to leave the state?
We were going to move to Fort Collins, and I was supposed to go with my friends and just go to, school and start my life, and everything changed. So, never once thought about having an abortion. Brian, which is Taylor's biological dad, never even really brought that up. I think he didn't his family didn't believe in it either. He wasn't LDS, but
when you told him, was
yes,
he
was
nervous, excited?
Because
he's much older than you.
Yes, and we just had broken up too. Like we were like it
Okay.
was done. Like I wasn't gonna be with him, and then I find out I'm pregnant, and I'm like, what the heck am I going to do? And yeah, so I went through all pregnancy by myself.
So from the minute you found out you're pregnant, he was like, I'm not
Well,
involved.
I already broke up with him at that time.
But he still didn't want to be involved?
Or
you didn't want him involved?
I didn't want him involved. He started getting into like drugs and stuff like that. And so, yeah, my mom's the one that like supported me, and she's like, I'll do whatever you want, to do. And I know our church teaches you, like, they try to get you to put your baby up for adoption. And that was just something that I couldn't do.
Did anyone kind of pressure you into that?
No, my mom was like on board with like, if you want to keep your baby, you should definitely, I'll do everything to help you.
And you're 18 years old.
Yes. When I had her, yes, I was 18,
you were 17
when I found out.
Wow.
Yes. So it was a lot. It was, that year was crazy, but I don't know. I wasn't excited about it. Like there was,
excited?
Oh no.
Were you just a little numb, depressed?
I was depressed just because I was just like, I don't know. I'm young. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm working at the mall. I think I was working at Dillard's at the time. And, I was supposed to go away to school but at the same time, I was just like, I'm going to have this baby, and so that was I was never wanting to give her up. So,
yeah.
And I didn't know what I was having until later on, but
okay.
Yeah.
And during this time, was there ever a thought of maybe I'll get back together with Brian? That's his name?
Yes. I always thought maybe, after the baby's born, maybe he'll like change and we can rekindle our relationship, and which we did get back together after I did have the baby. He came to the hospital the day of, and then he always tried to get back together. Even when I was pregnant, I just didn't. And then,
so he was there for Taylor's birth?
I didn't have him be in the same room, but he came after.
Gotcha.
Just to like visit and bring me flowers. But he actually asked me to marry him, but he was never like really excited about having a baby, but it was all about like our relationship and me. And I wanted somebody who fully wanted that
to be a
dad and be excited. And, he was young too. And, but yeah, he just wasn't like involved. So like that much, I guess he wasn't that too excited to want to be there. And so we dated for a little bit, and I'm just like, I had to cut it off. 'Cause I'm just like, I don't want you for my daughter, to be her dad. He just didn't live up to what I always dreamed of a father should be.
Yeah.
And so,
it sounds like he struggled with addiction. And I'm sure that brought up a lot of memories with your dad.
Yeah.
Struggling with addiction.
Yes. Yeah.
That must have been really hard for you to cut ties.
Yeah. So hard. Just because you're at 18 years old, wondering what you're going to do. And you're so in love. Like I was so in love with him. But I knew that he just wasn't the right person for me. He wasn't going to give me the life that I always wanted. And so I just had to just do it and just walk away.
Good for
and
you.
I did it, but it was so hard.
Yeah. What was that like being a single mom at 18 years old? Were you living with your mom? Okay.
So I lived with my mom and my sister, and I would go to school. I did go to school. I started college, and I had a part-time job, and I would do that. And yeah, it was hard, but my mom, she's my biggest supporter. Like, I don't know. She has played the biggest part of my life, even still to this day. Like, I don't know.
She's there for you.
She's there. She's the one that has my back all the time.
That's what mamas are meant to do, for sure. In college, what were your plans? Did you want to go into a certain field?
No, not really. I was just going to school to be like,
'cause that's what they say to do.
Yeah,
it's
just
like,
to go to school. Yeah. Yes.
Did
and
you finish?
I've never finished. No.
Never finished.
Never. Nope.
Okay.
Gone to school a couple times and just, I don't know. I just have never finished.
Hey, I never went to school either, so I'm not
and actually,
judge.
And I really don't think it's necessary unless you really know what you want, like a doctor or be an attorney or the medical field or, something business. But if you're like undecided, I don't really think it's worth the money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Time,
yes.
a lot of money, for sure. So when did you meet your current husband, who Taylor considers dad?
Well, my mom would always take the missionaries to dinner.
Okay.
And so there would always have to be 2 people. And so like, cause it was women.
Yes, they can't be alone. Yes,
so we can't be alone. And so at this time of my life, I was inactive. Like I wasn't going to church. My mom's like, hey, I'm taking the new missionaries out, you know, who's going to come with me? So it'd be me or my sister.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go. And this is actually, I was pregnant at this time.
Okay.
When I first met Jeremy. And so you couldn't tell. I was really skinny still. I was 7 months pregnant, but I just wore like a big sweatshirt and I was just thin. And it's crazy to think about now. Like, I'm like, you would never know I was even pregnant.
You were a teenager.
I was just a teenager. Yes. And so, but yeah, I went to, my mom's like, oh, it's this cute missionary. She would always say, you know, missionary is this and she's that Mormon mom, you know? And I'm like, I would just get so annoyed with her. And so, I went to, we took them to dinner. And when I seen him, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. And just like, he was like the first guy that I ever like have met that it took the thoughts of Brian away, which was so weird. But he just had that fun, humorous, he was cute, and just, he had that glow. I think there's some like LDS people that have that, like that light that you see, and he had it. And so, I'm just like, oh, I think he's cute. I never thought like I was going to,
it's not like he can
date anybody. He's on his mission.
Yeah, how long had he been on his mission?
Yeah, he just had gotten
so he had a 2 years still left.
Yes.
So it's not like you guys could be like, let's hang out after dinner.
Yes, I know. No. And so, and like, oh, it's nice to meet you, whatever. And then he would always like, they would come on their little bikes, you know, to our house and just like give us like a scripture or like a prayer or something. And he would leave and I wouldn't think anything. And he's like, he invited me to go to church. And he's like, hell, you know, like, I invite you to come this Sunday, this and this, you know, how they do their spill. And I'm like, okay. And so I started going to church. Like he started having me go. I mean, I went probably to see him.
Were you inactive at that time?
At the time. Uh-huh.
Did the pregnancy and the relationship make you stray away from the church?
I was already kind of like that rebellious teenager. I was, I liked to drink then.
Well, you got pregnant.
It wasn't like your typical, and I was having sex with my boyfriend. It was just different. Like, it's not like Utah. You have all these strong people in your like
similar morals.
That are similar to you, or at least like somewhat cool. Like it's always like the nerdy, not that anything.
No,
like,
I get what
I don't mean to say that, but just
but here it's like the cool kids don't drink.
Yes.
Where in other states, you know, the cool kids have the parties that have the alcohol and things like that. So no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So it was just like, they just weren't my typical friends. And so, and we only had there was maybe 5 in the whole club, like the city. So there wasn't a lot anyway.
That were LDS.
The LDS. And so, so it was, I don't know. He had me I started going to church and getting active, and then he got sent away, and he actually asked to be sent away because he said, I'm starting to have feelings for this girl. I'm always wanting to go to their house, and this is not, I didn't come on my mission to do this.
It feels inappropriate.
And yes. And so, and he's like that straight arrow kind of guy when it
follows the rules. And, you know, like, so they shipped him like straight out and he went back to Denver. And so like we would write each other and stuff. And I never really didn't think too much of it other than like, if you're there, you're there. Did he find out you were pregnant?
Yes. Well, so when he was leaving, he told, my mom's like, hey, you should come after your mission someday to meet my grandbaby. And he's like, I thought you said you didn't have any grandkids. And he's like, well, she said, Leann's going to have a baby. And he's like, oh, wow. You know? And so at that time, he was just like, okay. And
it's probably really shocking.
Yeah. Like shocking. And then, so long story short, we just basically, he left. We weren't writing at all or anything. This was, I kind of jumped ahead. So basically, he gets sent back to the same ward, everything like 6 months before his mission was over. Okay. And so my mom calls me and I'm working and she's like, hey, after you get off work, I need you to come straight home. I have a surprise for you. And I'm like, all right.
Were you still pregnant at this time?
Oh no, I already had Taylor at
Taylor.
this.
Okay.
Yep. Taylor was already just a little infant baby, and I seen bikes and I'm like, what the heck, And so I thought, oh, I wonder if there are another missionaries my mom's going to try to set me up with, And
Which
so,
is so funny because if anybody listening is Mormon, like that is not
like,
the time when you're setting people up is when they're on their mission.
Yes,
it's so funny.
I know. And so, yeah, I walked in and it was him, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it was just, and then that's when he would start coming over. Like the other times he would just come over, and he had like a crush on me, he said, but not, it was all about his mission. Yeah. And so this time he was just like, that's when he asked to be sent away. And then we wrote each other. And then I was planning to move out because some of my cousins were going to BYU.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, I'm going to move out there.
Because he's from Utah.
He's from Utah.
He's from Utah and got called to serve to Denver.
Yes.
Super far.
Weird. Yes. He was so disappointed. And it's funny because his mother told him, you're going to meet your wife on your mission right before he left. Because he was so like, not mad, but he was just like, oh, he wasn't excited. Yeah, he wasn't excited, And so she's like, I think you're going to meet your wife on your mission. And so like, he didn't have like that in mind at all. And just like, it was just weird that he got sent back the second time, because it's very uncommon to get sent in the same area a second time.
Yeah.
And then, yes. And so we were writing, and that's when he got sent away. And then I came to his homecoming here. I flew out and came to his homecoming. And so then we started dating, and and then
he was ready to be a dad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I'm like, you need to date other girls. You just got off of your mission.
Yeah.
I just moved here. You go date, because he had all these girls coming to his homecoming, like tons of just beautiful women, I mean, girls, teenagers or whatever. But yeah, it was just, but yeah, he didn't want to. He's just like, I know that you're the person that I want to marry and I want to be with the rest of my life. And so I'm like, all right. Like, so, and then we started dating, and I just fell in love with him. He was the first person that ever got me over Brian.
And Brian was still alive, but not even close in the picture at all.
Oh, no.
Had you talked to him? Had he seen Taylor?
Yeah, he's seen Taylor like a couple of times, like before so once I got engaged, it was kind of like everything was cut off, because he was just like, I think he knew in his own mind that he wasn't going to give her the life that she deserved.
Brian.
And so did his parents were like, we're going to make it easy on you, which I was so glad, because I didn't want.
Did he have to give up legal rights?
Uh-huh. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So did Jeremy adopt Taylor?
Yes. So at the age of she was 2 at this time. And then we got engaged, and he said, I want to adopt her. And I'm like, you don't have to, and he's like, no, but I want to. And so it's crazy, because he just got arrested for drugs, and I had to go to the jail to have him sign papers. So I guess the way it is like, if you don't have contact with your child for a whole year, it's pretty easy to get their rights terminated. And he didn't have contact for a little while, but he said he would sign over rights anyway. So it hadn't even been that time frame. And so I went to the jail, and I was just like, never been in a jail or anything. And I was just like, here's the paper to sign. It was just awkward, but
I'm sure.
But yeah, I was glad. And he came from a really good family, country club kind of people.
Really?
They were members of the country club. His parents were like well-to-do in our little city.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
But yeah, he ended up dying the day of Taylor when she got married.
I know. She had told me that. Yeah. That is so crazy.
Yeah, and she met him the once time where she actually just said it on.
Yeah. So how did that come to be? Because obviously Taylor was so young when Jeremy adopted her. Mm-hmm. Where was the conversation with Taylor, if any, that like, Jeremy's not your biological dad?
Yeah.
Because that's a hard conversation to have with the child. And I'm sure there's single moms listening right now that are like, I'm kind of in a similar situation. How do I navigate that conversation with my child? Because Jeremy is Taylor's dad.
Yes.
Through and through.
Through and through. Yes.
But there's that biological side that obviously you want to be honest with her.
Absolutely.
But when do you know to have that conversation?
I told her, I think she was 5 when she met him. We seen him at the restaurant, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
It was out of the blue. It wasn't planned.
No, not planned or anything.
I thought it was a planned encounter.
No. And so I seen him, and I'm like, do you want to meet Taylor? Because I was, yeah. And he said, yeah. Like, he's like, yeah, sure. And when she came up, and just, he's just like, hey, what's up, kid? Like how she says it on the show. And I didn't know when she said that, I didn't even I remember him saying that, but I didn't know she did because she was so young. She was like 5. And so that was the first time. So that was the first time I ever said, this is your real dad. And I don't know if 5-year-old really grasps that whole concept of him being, her real dad. I don't think so.
So that moment,
that was the first time.
Right there was the first time that she met him, and also the first time that she realized Jeremy wasn't her biological father.
Yes, and I don't think I don't know how
if that connected.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry.
So yeah, you don't know if that connected the dots for her at that age.
Yeah,
but now looking back,
she obviously remembered that, which was so crazy to me because we never discussed it after.
Really?
We didn't really have other than she knew that later on I told her again, and so she never really asked about him, which was weird. Never questioned why or, and I probably should have always had that conversation with her.
But you probably wanted to forget about
it. I wanted her to forget about him.
But looking back,
but I wish I should damage than yes. But I'm the type that is just like you. That's why I love you, is that you're you say it how it is.
Yeah.
And I'm that kind of person. The truth hurts. It does. But I'm that person that would rather have you, tell it to you how it is.
Tell it to you straight.
And just, than to lie and just live some lie.
Yeah.
I hate that. To me, I hate liars.
Well, it sounds like Taylor also hates
liars.
lying.
Yeah.
Just being honest.
Oh yeah. And I think that's such a trigger too. And I'm the same way as her. It's just be honest. I'd rather hurt that way than find out later that it was said something different, or the lies were told
So she kind of grew up her whole life not really having a full idea of who her dad was or that whole dynamic.
Yeah.
So was there a point when she was maybe a teen where you could notice that there was maybe, in quotations, daddy issues? Because she kind of has hinted at that when she first came on.
Yes.
She was like, yeah, I have daddy issues, but she didn't even know her dad. She never really met her dad. But that in itself made her feel that way. Could you sense that as a mother, that there was a disconnect?
I did. There was kind of a disconnect with her compared to my other 2 kids. My other 2 kids are very huggy, lovey.
Yeah.
With her, as she grew older, she wasn't like that. And we're a very we hug and, we're
physical
just
touch family.
Physical touch. Yeah. Especially my other 2. And she's more I don't know. She even still has that awkward.
Doesn't love it.
And so when people come at me on social media or oh, you don't give your daughter a hug, or it's because she doesn't that's not her love language, And so my other ones I'm I'll still give Taylor a hug, but she's kind of she backs off a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that probably has something with abandonment with her father, her biological father, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I always gave her the same love. If anything, she was always the one that got the most out of all my kids. I felt each one as that got, younger got the least, I felt, just because you're so excited when you have your first kid, and you're I have the most pictures of her, and just each one gets it's just different.
Just
I don't know.
Goes. Yeah. Did Jeremy feel a disconnect as her dad?
No, he just felt he could never discipline her the way I guess he would with his kids, just because he just felt it wasn't his call in a sense, but it was. I don't know.
I mean, he adopted her at 2.
Yeah, that was her. Yeah,
that is her dad.
But he always felt just a little different. But he always loved her just the same. Always showed her that he loved her, and I don't know. But now we're finding out, stuff that is just we're I don't know. She just has brought she always felt she wasn't loved he loves Aspen, her sister.
Yeah.
And he's just it has broken his heart, because he's what did I do that gave you that impression? So I don't know. Because I don't think he ever, if anything, I thought she got it easier.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So you obviously have 2 other children, like we just said. When did you feel ready to have more kids? Because how old were you when you guys got married?
19. So I had all my kids by the time I was 23. So
wow.
3 kids under 23. But yeah, it was crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And were you a full-time mom? Did you work and
I worked.
Okay.
Yeah. So my mom actually would watch my kids. And so we both worked. So
okay.
that was like, there's not like a lot of regrets like in my life. And that's probably one I wish that I would have stayed home with
Really?
at least until they were at least 5, you know,
Yeah.
like all of them. But yeah, I always liked the best cars, the house, and
Yeah.
you know, I was
Materialistic
young and
things.
very, and I wish that, and none of that really matters. And so I wish that was one thing I really lost out on those years.
Yeah.
So, but my mom got them, and I was lucky to have her.
What were you doing for work?
So I worked at a bank. So I was
Okay.
like a customer service person for like
Okay.
years.
Because you do real estate.
I do
now.
real estate. Yep.
When did that start? Was that later on in
2005.
life?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was later on.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but today's episode is brought to you by Bohm. It is finally warming up outside. Thank goodness. Spring is calling, and Bohm has the styles to answer. Whether you're on the hunt for a perfect Easter dress, a Mother's Day gift that actually impresses her, or denim that fits like a dream, Bohm's got you covered. Their spring collection is packed with effortless, wearable pieces that make getting dressed so simple and easy. Use code 20Josie, 20Josie, for 20% off your order. Don't miss out. Head over there now at bohm.com, BOHME.com, and refresh your closet now for spring. And don't forget to use that code 20Josie at checkout. And thanks, Bohm, for sponsoring today's episode. When Taylor got married really young, obviously things seemed really good and healthy. And then you witnessed probably her go through the hardest time of her life. Before it was public, before she was opening up about what she was experiencing, did you notice anything?
I didn't. So other than
Really?
her being in high school, that's when I kind of like her senior year, or maybe, yeah, her senior year, it seemed like maybe junior, where she was like starting to like, I knew she was drinking, and like her friend's mom would call me and it's like they had a party, like her and her friends, and just stuff like that. And then like boyfriend wise, she was always like attached to her like these guys that treated her bad.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
And being a mom, how did you navigate that? Because I mean, I'm not even close to the teenage years, and it scares me. Like you want to give your kids freedom, but you also want to teach them lessons and know that like there are consequences.
Yes. And I was very strict.
Yeah.
Being a mom, like at that time. And I wish I wasn't so strict with my kids, because I think people that are so strict, then they lie, because then they, you know, are doing other things. They can't. Yes. And so, I think as each kid that got older, like got more like
got a little more lenient.
Yes. More lenient. And then they opened up. So like Aspen was different. And then Hunter was, you know, they were all more open as they got older. But yes, I think Taylor was always the type that I just always held her to that standard. She was my first one. So she always got like so much praise. Like she was always like the prettiest, you know, and she's like, Mom, you just say that, you know, like in high school, I would always be like, you're the prettiest out of all your friends. And I would always be like, you're the best, you're this and that. But also when she was doing things that maybe that weren't the best, I would be like, you know, don't do this or don't do that, or that's wrong, or, you know, so I don't know. You just learn it, I guess, as I still am not, you know, the perfect parent. I don't think you ever become one, but still learning. So
it's a hard thing to navigate.
It is.
It's the first time you do it.
Yeah.
So she gets married, has 2 kids, and I think we all saw her hit rock bottom.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that.
Yes.
When that situation was happening, did you notice something was off in her marriage?
Oh, I always know when she's off. Like she
Okay.
just is that type that it just shows. She gets distant. She gets like both of them, like her and
Her ex.
Yeah, they both became distant. We always have like a Sunday dinner, or we would see them at least once a week.
Yeah.
You know, like the whole family. And so they stopped, you know, I knew that they were hanging out with their friends more. And so I'm like, well, I guess this is just how it starts to be. Like, you know, I understand, you know, they're more fun to hang out with because they're their age. They have kids that are the same age, and it's just great. And just, and so they're always having like parties and stuff. And that became like a concern because it was just like, they're awkward. So every time they would come over, she was very like, when she's not doing something that to me is not right,
something that she's not maybe proud of,
it disconnects from me completely. Like she know, like I know. And so I kept asking her, like, is everything okay? Is everything okay with your marriage? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine, and just, she would be just like short and just, she wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And so for 2 years, like a year and a half, like I knew something was going on. And I would always tell my husband, hey, we should like go and just show up at the house. Like, and we'd be watching the kids like on the weekends way more when they were just staying home. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's odd. If you're not going anywhere, you can watch them, like, and so like we had that conversation and then, it was just like, nope, nothing's wrong. But yeah, they held it pretty good for a while.
And then obviously it all kind of
Came
up.
out. Yep.
The internet, took over. Taylor spoke her truth and her piece. And
yes,
I mean, you've said that, you're Mormon and religious, and we do live in a very Mormon bubble.
Yes.
How did that feel knowing that everyone knew your daughter's sex life and her marriage and things that necessarily people would judge her for?
That was hard. So these last 3 years of like her life has been so hard and our family has been so hard. And it's like I'm not the type though, I guess, like it didn't embarrass me. Like I know a lot of people said, oh, you're just embarrassed of your daughter because you get all these like trolls that are on social media and people that have no idea. But I've never been like embarrassed of her. Like she made some, I always say shitty. I don't know if you can bleep that out. But
we say shitty here.
Okay. So just, she made some shitty decisions. She's had to live with those consequences and which sucks because she's lived a tough 3 years, and it just feels like it's barely getting a little better. And I feel like, it's, I love how she did come out and say what is true because she didn't hide around anything, religion, family. She didn't care. And to me, it's like, that just gave me the chills. I just think that she did what was right for her. And maybe that's not, the same approach that other families would be like, like at first we were kind of like devastated, not so much about our family, but just, we were just like, gosh, the kids always come up for me. Like that's
Absolutely.
that's like her, the biggest thing is like, it wasn't just her and her husband, it affects the kids. And to me, it's like anytime they're going to go through all this pain and suffering and all that. And it's just like, that's what I guess I had a hard time with.
Yeah.
But like we forgive her, like we forgave her right away. And nothing that my kids will ever do in this life will ever change the way I feel about them. They can go murder someone and I will still love them the exact same.
Yeah.
Today's episode is sponsored by Shed, the easiest way to start your weight health journey. You guys all know that I went through my own weight loss health journey, and so I'm excited to tell you guys about Shed. With Shed, it only takes 3 minutes to get started. You'll fill out a quick online form with your goals and health history, and their medical team will create a personalized treatment plan just for you. Everything happens online, no doctor's offices, no pharmacy lines. Your FDA-approved medication ships straight to your door. And the best part, you're not doing it alone. Shed pairs you with a dedicated member success team to help you track your progress and stay motivated along the way. Clinically studied treatments, no insurance required, and zero hassle. Get $100 off your first month by using the link in the show notes. Valid through May 2025. Shed is making health simple, effective, and actually doable. Thank you, Shed, for sponsoring today's episode.
Oh, they come first, in my life. And now my grandkids come first. So if anything's affecting them or the decisions maybe Taylor's not doing, it's because I'm thinking of her kids, obviously her, but her kids' well-being will always be first, so, and they don't have like the voice to say anything or, so I don't know, but she's an amazing mom.
Yeah.
And so I guess that was like a hard thing when she did go to jail. And there was so much that like people just don't, know, and they would say things. And it's just like, there's even stuff that I'm not going to say on
Yeah.
here, but just a lot of stuff that they didn't know, like about their relationship and their stuff that happened that night. And I think that's the thing, is that like I frown upon drinking, not just because it killed my dad, but also because it's like, yeah, everybody likes to have fun, you know, and that's not why I always tell my kids, don't drink, don't do this or do that. It's because it kind of saves them from the outcome of the things that these people, you know, like these things do. When you're drinking, you're going to possibly have these, you know, bad decisions and end up in jail or, end up losing your kids or something, you know? So I don't know.
And that's a hard conversation as a mom. You want to comfort your child, but you also don't want to enable behaviors.
Yeah.
And we saw a scene with you and Demi this season where, you know, it was hinted that you enable poor behavior. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that's fair to say?
I think that there have been times where I'd be lying if I didn't say that sometimes I enable, you know, my kids' behavior.
You love them.
Because you love them and you don't want them to go through all the pain and suffering. And so, but I think for the most part, like, she has owned her stuff. Like, she went to jail and just like, I'm like, take her away, you know? It's just like, and now going back, I wish I would have kind of been like
more coddling.
Yes, because that's like, she needed me, and I was like so more like really cold and just
angry, probably.
Angry, very angry. And so, yeah, when I watch that, I can't watch it without like crying, like every single time. And when I see her cry, I hate it. So there's a lot of emotions that, you know, that I hate to see her go through.
Yeah.
But
that's mother's love is one of the strongest loves there is.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And so when you had that conversation,
it's true love.
When you had that conversation with Demi, is there anything you wish you would have said? Because talking to you now, like, you're making it very clear, like maybe there might be times where you enable a little because you're her mom and you love her, but in one of the darkest times, you were angry with her and you were a parent in that moment, and not enabling her.
Yeah.
What do you wish you would have said in that moment if you could have said anything differently to Demi?
Oh gosh. I think that I didn't really say much that at that time because it was her party, you know, and I kind of had, you know, that respect. I didn't go and just to her party. I had to drop off a present. And then obviously I didn't expect to go in and sit and chat with her. That wasn't
You didn't
planned.
expect that.
I didn't expect that. I wasn't going just for that. I was going to drop off her present and get these little donations off the tree for Taylor, because Taylor was invited and then uninvited.
Right.
But I wasn't going just to go argue with Demi like people think. It's just that's not my place to go do to somebody's, you know, party that they were having. And so I'm the type that when I get really mad, I start crying. And so it's either like I'm like quiet or I just like start spitting out stuff I shouldn't say. And so that was probably a good thing that I didn't say it at that time, because it would probably have been even worse. And so, but a lot of things that Demi didn't have were like facts. And so that's what I have a problem with when people are speaking or saying something they know nothing about. That's when I have a problem. And that's where I'll always go in to bat for Taylor. It's like, you don't know the whole story. You don't know the background. So don't say anything, you know? So, yeah.
Because, there have been multiple times where you've defended Taylor throughout the show when Whitney didn't come to her baby shower. You called Whitney, things like that. Is that in your personality? Because you're saying it is, like, that's something you do, but do you feel like because of the show, it's been heightened a little bit?
Definitely heightened, of course. Yeah, for sure. Same thing with her. Like, she didn't come to her baby shower, but she always wanted to be like Taylor's like best friend and like be accepted and all these things. Whitney, yes. And so I really didn't know what was going on with her and Taylor at the time. And so you find out later on, you know, after filming, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that or called her or was out of, you know, place. But yeah.
With the show, kind of going back a little bit, because obviously the show was in talks at the time when she was arrested. Things were in the works. When initially the show got brought up, how did you feel about it? And do you think your opinions maybe swayed Taylor's opinion on doing the show at all? Or do you think she was going to do it no matter what anyone thought?
Actually, she wasn't going to end up doing it.
Really?
At first, like when everything was said and done, because they came and flew out and met with me and Taylor, like the very, very first. And this, I don't know if it was in 22.
It was a long time ago.
I don't remember, but it was
before
the
arrest.
She was arrested. Yes. And then the arrest came and everything got put on hold.
Right.
And then she didn't know what she was going to do. And so I'm like, just go and, do it. And I mean, everything's like out there anyway.
So you were pro doing it.
Pro doing it, yes.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
Especially because you talk about like how the kids come first.
Yes.
And a show, a reality show exposes so much of your life.
Yes, it does.
And so that's shocking to me that you were like, it.
I think just because everything happened and everything was already on social media was like,
what else?
What else like really can happen other than maybe you can be, I guess, like just a woman that can show other women that they can do certain things.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. We went back and forth like she did too. And, but that was something that she's always wanted since she was a little girl. And so something that big, is just like, I have videos of her saying, "Hi, I'm Taylor May and I'm 7 years old." And this, and just like getting in their camera and being like,
star
of the show. And I always knew, like, I always felt like she would end up doing it sometime. Yeah. And then when we moved here, she would always go and be in extras in Disney shows. And I would spend 12 hour days like with her, wanting to do this. And she always wanted to. She always wants to be an actress. Like that was her thing. And so now this is kind of like similar, but it's more, it's definitely real, like people think, oh, it's not real. It's so real. Sometimes I wished it wasn't,
it's real.
Some of the, like the drama of it. So it's unscripted, totally unscripted. We say what we want. It does get edited to whatever, obviously, but I've seen you and like,
it's real.
Yeah, so it's real.
It's real stuff. So the beginning you're down for. After the arrest, did you still feel good about it? Were you still like, you know what? Take your power back. If you're going to do this show, like let it be on, your terms and let your voice be heard. Is that kind of what
that's exactly
the mindset was?
Yeah. And so, she just went back and forth with it and kind of was just like, and she was going to be like that main character, and she ended up being the main character. So, I think it's been fun for her and she's got to experience a lot of stuff and it's a lot of work. So, and a lot of time away from her kids, which I'm sure you probably see like a lot of the moms go and do all these other things and Taylor stays behind because she's divorced, and so she only gets so much time with her kids, and she wants to spend that time with them, which I think is amazing. Like, I'm like, go do that, She's like, you don't get that time back. So,
has the show affected your family dynamic at all?
I don't think so. We're kind of like tough skin in our family, like me and my husband and my kids. I mean, I think the reason why Taylor is tough as she is probably because we've made our kids that way too.
Yeah.
So it's like you take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I always think that we're their biggest cheerleaders, but also
keep them humble.
We keep them very humble. And Taylor's so humble, I think.
She is.
Like for the most, like
if people meet her, they wouldn't think that she is as famous as she is because she is very humble.
Uh-huh. And that's why people love her so much. Like people are like, I met your daughter and she is like the nicest person. And she just, I mean, we can't go anywhere anymore, but like she always takes pictures with people, always like talks to them and wants to know about their family. And she is like, if there's anything that I taught, like I think with my kids is like, be kind to people because, to me, it's just like, I don't know, you don't know what that person's going through. And, like people just want to be accepted. Everybody does. And so if you can make somebody happy, when meeting them or whatever, do it. And my kids all have that like compassion and empathy for people.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I love that also that Taylor's like the type that she doesn't have to try. Like I'm sure, like in Utah, especially, I'm sure, Josie, you're from Draper. You grew up in Draper. Draper's like that type that is just like
it's a little fake sometimes.
A lot fake, yeah. I think, but that's just my perception of it. But just like everyone's trying to compete and like has to have this and that, and like those are things that are not important. I'm the same way. Like I'm materialist. I'm like one of those people that are materialistic, and I'm so glad that all three of my kids aren't.
Yeah.
Like they are like, if you don't like me, if I'm not wearing this or that, and
I don't have the nicest things.
I don't need to be friends with you, you know? And I love that because I wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And they're like that, but people still, you know, love them. Like Taylor was in high school, was that popular girl, always went to proms, to Drapers, to Riverton, to South Jordan. Like she always had the dates to all the schools, you know?
Yeah.
One of the head guy of their company, he said it, and just like, oh my gosh, that's exactly her.
She just has the star quality.
She has star quality, and she doesn't have to even act like it. She don't even have to do her hair. Like, you know, most people are like, oh, I need to get my hair done, my nails done, this and that. And she's like, just whatever, you like me or you don't. And I love that about her.
I think, and like we said, a lot of people do. There's a scene in the episode, I think it's episode 2, that really got everyone talking on social media, where you're outside with Dakota, you're having your guys' family dinner, and it got a little bit heated. And, you know, we see Jeremy, you know, make a comment like, well, what does that say about you to have sex after barely knowing each other? That was probably really hard to watch back. And I'm sure there was parts of it that weren't seen, but
yes, absolutely.
At the end of the day, it's harsh. You know, it is harsh.
Yes.
How did that conversation feel like in the moment?
I think now, like watching it, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, it just like, it brings things to the surface of what to say and not to say. But we were raised, like, I don't know if you might want to ask your mom, maybe in my generation, we were like, our parents were very straight shooters.
Yeah.
And so like, I took that same way that I was raised and have done that to my kids. And not a lot of parents, I think, don't. They like sugarcoat things and maybe say it nicer. I know that our approach is always the best, but at the same time, like not everybody can see like the facts from the very beginning to at that point. And we didn't know a lot of stuff too with Dakota. So, you know, like we were kind of being like, hey, you know, you decided to be in this relationship that you keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And like, cause we were when I met Dakota, I didn't want her to be with him. Like the first day I met him, I'm like, he's not right for you. And was
it a feeling, or was there a specific thing?
It was just a feeling. Like, I just like, he's not right for you. Like he just wasn't that. And he's so nice. Like, you know,
very charismatic. He's a very nice guy.
So nice, you know, and people like him. And yeah, he is a good guy, but he comes with all this other stuff that I wish that she would have listened to me at that point. But then obviously you get to know him, he's talking, and just like, he's nice. And like, I like him as a person,
but not for your daughter.
Not for my daughter at all.
And you still feel that way.
I strongly feel that way.
Because in that moment, it was very much you guys fighting for Dakota. And it was hard, I think, for people to watch, seeing Taylor just desperate for you guys to almost listen to her. Like, no, you don't get it. Like, this is not, this isn't going to work. And I think that was hard.
And we didn't know a lot of stuff.
Right.
But we could have, obviously my husband could have been more loving for sure. And he knows that. Like he cried the whole season. Watching it. So
it's probably hard to
watch. It was hard
back
for him. Yes.
Were there any scenes that didn't make the final cut that you wish would have?
Every scene that we've ever made has
has made the cut.
Made it, yeah. Except for I think one where her and I were having lunch somewhere in Draper, and it was just talking about her marriage to Tate. That was the only one that didn't make it, and I wish that it would have, because we talked like really deep conversation, but yeah.
Is there anything looking back that you wish you would have done differently, other than, you know, that conversation at the lunch or dinner, whatever that was, with outside, where it got a little heated and Taylor was upset? But like overall filming the show, is there anything you're like, I wish I would have maybe done this, or I wish I wouldn't have been as involved here? Or do you feel really good about how the show went for you?
Well, the show is going to do the show regardless, but I always, like, I do feel like there's certain, like that scene for sure, like I'm just like, oh my gosh, it makes us look so bad, you know? And so it actually gives us also that time to like reevaluate how maybe we are, to improve ourselves, and maybe like say things nicer, because just because we were like raised that way doesn't mean that, you know, it's the best approach for her, and especially her, like too, just because she's gone through so much. All she wanted, you know, is some validation from her parents. And I think that's what hurt her so much, because she felt a little betrayed that we were taking his side, which wasn't true. We were just saying, hey, like, let's see what we can work out. Like, they only showed a piece, but it's like, let's see what we can do to you guys to come together, keep going to therapy, and see if you can make it work. You just had a baby, you know? And so,
sorry to interrupt, but today's episode is brought to you by Spearmintlove. Mamas, have you seen the latest drop from Spearmintlove? Their new floral collection is here, and it's absolutely stunning. Think matching sunsuits and dresses made just for baby girls all the way up to 6 years old. Perfect for brunch with the fam, the upcoming outdoor wedding, or a sunny day at the beach. We're talking picture perfect florals that instantly elevate her look without breaking the bank. Soft, breathable fabrics, thoughtful details, and styles that move with your little one. Because cute shouldn't mean uncomfortable. So if you want her to feel like a little flower queen this season, check out spearmintlove.com and grab your favorites before they bloom away. You can use code WEEKLYTRASH at checkout for an exclusive discount. Thank you, Spearmintlove, for sponsoring today's episode.
I wish the best for Dakota. I hope that he is a great dad forever. You know, I wish him no harm, nothing like that. I just don't want them together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the show, there's also been a lot of talk about your transformation.
Oh gosh.
You look gorgeous. People are saying you got a facelift.
Oh yeah,
you
they
got
say everything.
All these things under the sun. So let's set the record straight. Liann, what did you get done, and what should people get done? Because whatever you did, it looks great.
You're so nice.
But you don't look that different.
Oh, I don't think I look that different either. But obviously, when you lose 40 pounds, from 2022, like that first scene that they
that was from a long time ago.
That was a pilot. That wasn't even filming like the first season. That was like way before. But anytime you lose weight, your looks do change. You know, like my face was very puffy, and I was eating lots of donuts that time, and I don't know, but just like, you know, so it's just, but yeah, I have, since then I've had some plastic surgery done. I got a nose job, not an invasive one, just very like the tip of it.
Yeah.
Got that done, which I've wanted my whole life. And I just was scared. I don't know how many doctors I talked to finally pull the trigger when I did that. Dr. Ward, the best, like he's the best of the best. He's done a few of people that I know, and I love their noses. But I love my nose. I love the way it turned out. I got, I never know how to say the blepharoplasty, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but
with the
eyelids and the under eyes.
Okay.
So got that done. And then, I got an implant put in,
okay.
but I had it reversed.
So you got it and then you took it out.
Yeah, I got it.
You didn't like
out.
it.
I hated it.
Because a lot of people get that done.
I hated it.
What did you not like about it?
Like in season 2, like my face just, obviously that whole that was right after my surgery. So we filmed for those 2 months. Like my face was not even in recovery. Like I was so like swollen, but I just didn't like it. Like I felt like I don't know. I just didn't like it. So,
was the recovery hard?
No, not too bad, but just your face is just not like it they say it takes 3 to 6 months to finally like heal, and even a year like for like your nose to really, but yeah, so I got that done and I got it reversed. Yeah, they went in and took it out because
I don't want this anymore.
I hated it. But I wish I would have got a full like facelift because all my
Really?
wrinkles. Yes, I'm like,
oh my
I'm like,
goodness.
oh my gosh, I wish like.
Is it hard seeing yourself on screen?
Oh yeah,
do you think that had
their
something to do
cameras.
with
Oh
it?
man, their cameras show every little speckle of your like your hair looks like even drier than I mean, they show the cameras are just unreal, like
they
the clarity.
amplify any insecurities probably.
Oh man, yeah.
So is it fair to say that maybe the show encouraged the
Absolutely.
surgeries a little?
Absolutely, yeah. But I'm the type that I don't care what people think. Like if it makes me feel better about myself,
absolutely.
I think anybody who if it's I was very insecure about my nose for my whole life, and I'm just like, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
And I would encourage anybody who feels that way. It has made me feel so much better.
Well, I'm glad.
So yeah, I'm not ashamed of it at all. I'm all for plastic surgery. And I'll be the first person to say that.
I'm the same way. I'm about to get a tummy tuck June 30th.
I know, you don't even need it. But you look
No,
beautiful and
I can't
amazing.
Wait.
So.
I can't wait to get a little under the knife. Okay, so with the show now coming out, there's a lot of fame that's come with it, obviously. Has it changed your life day to day?
No, I mean, getting now, like especially this last season, even more, getting like noticed.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, my husband and I were at the gyms after church.
Yeah.
We went to breakfast, and these people were from St. George, and they were like, I always know when people like know.
Yeah, they kind of take a double take.
They do, yeah. And so they were looking at us, and then the mom, she was probably like my age, and our daughters were, these teenagers, and they're like, sorry, we don't mean to fangirl you, but we just love you guys. And so we end up talking to them and stuff. But yeah, just stuff like that. But nothing like internally, like with our family, we all get along pretty well.
That's good.
And I don't know, it's been fun. I think it's fun.
It is fun. It is hard. I'm sure it's
hard
to balance.
Is hard, but yeah.
The backlash is hard, dealing with the hate comments, and then also that internal struggle of just like staying grounded.
Yes.
When, everybody is now obsessed with your family and yes, there are haters, don't get me wrong, but there's also an immense amount of love and support.
Oh,
and just
absolutely.
Like, how do you keep yourself grounded to where, it's like, okay, I'm Taylor's mom and that's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But also like I'm Taylor's mom.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm her mom before I'm her, anything else.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
I right now there hasn't been like it's not too much yet.
Yeah.
So, but I think that we'll just always just try to stay humble just because I always want to be nice to people regardless. And I hope that Taylor will always just continue to be who she is and not change. And my family. Yeah. So, but it is hard. It's hard to, I guess, balance because you always like, no matter what you say, you do have those supporters that like, I have all these texts and people like, we love your family. We don't ignore all the haters, but it's always like you focus on the negative. It's just human nature, I think, to go back and just like these comments, like you can have so many of the good comments, but just the one bad comment like sets you back in a sense. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but
no, it does.
But yeah, I mean, I've gotten calls like the other night. I got a call at 3:00 in the morning from somebody from back east, and then they sent me this huge long message. But my husband and I have gotten the worst,
like a threatening.
Yeah, we've gotten horrible, like kill yourself. You're the worst parents. Like, but I was kind of used to that when Taylor went through with the jail stuff and all of that. So like, I don't know. I'm like, but yeah, there's the good and the bad, and you just have to kind of outweigh them and just live your life, I guess.
Yeah.
It's what that's what we signed up for, right?
Exactly.
So anytime anybody puts their life on national TV, that's what you get. So
kind of have to expect
it
a little bit.
Yep. Or don't have it on there.
Yeah. Are you excited for the future of the show?
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a lot of exciting things, I'm sure.
Yes.
That I feel like you get a lot of the perks too. It's like you don't have to fully show yourself, but you can go to CMA, and that was a huge storyline too.
And I was so blessed to have Taylor take me. Like, because I'm a country person. I'm like all about country. That's my favorite. And she asked me to go instead of her sister, So I was just like, I don't know. That was amazing. That was like one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. And
who's been like a celebrity that you've ran into or that you were starstruck by?
So Drew Barrymore, I love her.
Amazing.
I love her. I met her. She was always like someone I always loved when I was younger.
Yeah.
I think just because she's so kind to people, and she is like that person that you see on TV, like just so nice and so down to earth. And so she's like been the coolest one that I've like met, that I've just, I don't know.
Starstruck.
Starstruck.
Like, oh my
gosh. Yes.
That's amazing. And it's crazy because now people feel that way about you and
Oh,
your
gosh.
daughter.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a wild thing. The world loves reality TV. They love
it's
drama. Crazy. Is the drama exhausting though? Does it get to a
gosh,
point where
do
you ever think, oh, maybe we just not do this? Maybe we tell Taylor not to do this?
Yes, it is so exhausting, but it's crazy because it's so real too. And but yes, it's just, it is. But I guess, that's what reality TV is. And if you don't have any drama, you don't have a show, right? So
it's true.
But the crazy thing about it is that they're so sober doing it. So
yeah.
And all the other shows that everyone is like drinking. And so it's crazy. But
it is crazy. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Thank you for letting me dumpster deep dive you. Yeah. Before you leave though, you need to pick a topic out of that little pink trash can. This one right here.
Okay.
This little teeny tiny one. And we'll both answer. It's called TRASHTOPICAN, a topic from a trash can.
Oh, cute.
Hopefully you can read the handwriting.
If I have my glasses on.
Do you want me to read it? I'm like, I don't have any readers on me. I can
I could.
You got it?
Yeah.
You got it? I love this.
Any hidden talents? If not, what a talent you have that you might not share or show enough? I don't have any talents.
Oh, Liann, you have to have a talent. You have a talent.
I don't have any talents.
You have the talent of being on reality TV. Can you cook?
No.
Can you bake?
No.
Can you?
I seriously don't
walk
have
really fast. You have a talent.
I don't. Maybe because I can talk.
Like growing up, like did you have?
I didn't play any sports.
But you were going to be homecoming queen.
I know, but I didn't have anything.
Talent of being popular.
No, that's not a talent.
I feel like it is.
Really? I don't have any talents. Really, I don't. I wish I did.
Not a single one.
No.
Can you whistle?
No, I can't even do that.
I'm like trying to think of little teeny tiny talents.
I could be a fun grandma.
That's your talent. That's a talent. Do you love being a grandma?
Oh man, it's the best thing in life.
Is it better than being a parent? I heard it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't have had any kids if I had grandkids first.
Yeah, it's so fun.
They're the best.
Because you only have three, right?
Yep.
Okay. And they probably get all the attention.
All the attention.
All the love.
Yes. Oh, because they're little personalities. Like Indy, Taylor's daughter, is like just like how Taylor was when she was young.
Do you just see so
she's
much of
witty
her?
And she's just, she's so funny. I have to tell this.
Yes,
can I tell this quick story?
Please tell it.
So she was just at the doctor the other day and she's getting her eye checked and she's like, Papa, because Jeremy took her. And so she's like, Papa, do you think that before the doctor comes in, she goes, how much do you want to bet me that I'm going to pretend like I'm dead and see what he says? And she's like, would you bet me? And he's like, yeah, I'd bet you. And she goes like, well, how much? And so they're just like, going back and forth. And she's like, I 1,000 dog dare you. I guess that's what she said. And she's like, okay. So she walks in and she's just like laying with her eyes and everything out. And then he's like telling her, oh my gosh, is Indy dead? The doctor comes in and says that. And she's just like laying there and just playing it out.
Oh my gosh,
and
little actress.
And he's like, yeah, I think she is. And then doctor's like, okay, well, she's not going to mind when I give her this shot then. And then she like gets up, but she's just so fun. She's just like
so bubbly.
She is bubbly. Yeah. Well, you've probably seen her too when she used to do her little makeup tutorials.
Yes.
But yeah,
she's her mom's mini.
Yes. She's so fun. But yeah.
Being a grandma sounds like a blast.
It is. Yeah.
I feel like my hidden talent is...
What is yours?
I used to be able to sing back in the day.
Really?
I used to be, and now
I'm sure you
I've
can
lost
still
it.
Sing. Oh.
No, I feel like God takes away your talents if you don't use them. And I stopped using it and now I can't sing.
Oh, you have to sing.
I can't.
Oh,
especially not right now with my raspy
amazing
voice. I really, really can't. Are there any hidden talents of Taylor's that maybe we don't know of?
I don't know.
Well, Liann, thank you so much for letting me dumpster deep dive you. This was so much fun, and I can't wait to see all the things that your family does, and I hope that you know that I love and support you guys. And
Thank you.
I'm excited for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, you guys, I love you. Have the best week ever. And don't forget to take out your trash. Bye.
Bye.